Pasifika Health Talanoa, proudly brought to you by Pacific Heartbeat at the Heart Foundation.
And warm Pacific greetings to everybody on this nice warm day. To you too, Malo, and to all our listeners and our Facebook followers. It's Palangi Sue here, and we're here for our Pacific Heartbeat and Heart Foundation Pacific Health Talanoa once again, which we have every Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock or just after 2. And where we like to chat all about nutrition topics that we feel may be of interest to Pacific families out there, or we hope they are anyway. Yeah. And we're sorry once again that Muffy, our usual host, Muffy Funaki Tahifoti, our Pacific Health Manager at Pacific Heartbeat, is unable to be with us today. But the lovely Maria Bernard is with us once again. So we're so thrilled to have Maria once again. And Maria and I just wanted to remind you all that to have a really good listen into this session, because at the end of it, Marlo is going to ask one question about the session on the radio and on Facebook, and whoever's first in to answer the question about the session can win a $50 Pack and Save voucher. So welcome to you all, and we hope you enjoy the session. And we were just thinking about last week, we were talking all about ways of cooking healthier, Maria, weren't we?
That's right, yeah.
And I just wondered why were we bothering to talk all about, how we could cook a little healthier?
Yeah, I think it was really important, because we thought we could, if you could learn how to cook some healthy ways, that maybe you could buy less takeaways and cook more at home. And,
Yep.
And also you'd have a lower chance of getting diabetes or heart disease, and even some cancers, and also a lower risk of becoming obese. So
it's all related to those Pacific Health stats that we have shared. I think Muffy's shared them over the past quite a few programs, really, in order to help with to lower those some of them quite scary statistics.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. And so you had some good tips of some good ways of cooking food. That there's quite a few of them, isn't there?
There was a lot,
it's not boring, and they're not hard, are they?
No, quite easy. So I'll just quickly go through what we went over. So we had stir fry, grilling, and barbecue. Baking and roasting.
Yes.
Steaming like in a umu. Boiling and stewing. Blanching, like when you dip it into the boiling water just for a few minutes. And microwave, if you have one at home. And
for Palangi Sue, the umu, I know that's kind of an outdoor oven, kind of like doing the Māori hangi, isn't it? So that's steaming. So you could steam in a pot as well, couldn't you?
Yes, you could.
On the stove.
Oh. Yes, you could, yeah.
Yes. So they sound great, Maria.
Yeah. But can you guess which one is not on the list?
Well, I'm trying to remember from last week. Those are all the healthier ones you've been chatting about.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure it's deep frying. So,
That's
Maria,
right.
why is deep frying not so good for families to be cooking that way?
It's not so good because the fat content within, when you have too much oil in your diet, too much fat, it can cause you to put on weight. And that can cause the little pipes that go to your heart to get blocked.
Yeah.
And that can lead to heart disease or even a heart attack.
Yes.
And if the little pipes to your brain get blocked, that would be lead to a stroke.
Oh, well, that's a very, very good reason to try and lower the fat content the way when we're cooking, isn't it?
Very much.
Oh, there are some great tips, Maria. And I know we chatted last week to the viewers and the listeners that a good follow-on this week, we thought, was maybe how to read food labels when we're shopping at the supermarket. I'm holding up a tin of Samoa coconut cream here, and on the back of every product in the supermarket, there's always a little box with some food information on there. And we talked about maybe that might be a really good topic to talk about today, Maria, because we did cooking methods last week, but then we talked about, Takui and I had talked about how to make a shopping list, and Muffy and I had talked about planning our meals. So really we need to go and actually shop for them. Yeah. But how do we know that they're going to be, the ones that we're choosing are the good ones for our family?
Best for our health, that's right.
So where do you think we should start, Maria? If we're going to shop for those, looking at those coconut creams, we've got 2 coconut cream cans there.
Yeah.
What could we be looking at on the product?
Yeah, so I've got a packet here of, it's called Goodness Oats I'm holding up.
So it's a big cereal packet,
a big cereal pack, yeah. And if you can see at the back, there is this big box with information in it. There are like 3 kind of main columns of information. But
it's not normally that big, is it?
It's not normally this big.
It's normally tiny. And I know Palangi Sue has to get her glasses out to actually to read what's on it.
You need to get your magnifying glass out at home.
I'll borrow yours.
Or your glasses.
So what should we be looking when we find that little table on the cereals or the coconut cream or the pisupo?
So the first column you look at, it shows a list of good things that you can compare, but they're like the goodness and the badness, if you like, what's inside the
So it's the nutrition in that food product?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's good and bad.
Good and bad.
That's on the left hand.
Would be the left side for the viewers. Yeah. And the next panel that is on this table or box is the per serving column. And per serve is, it's up to the people that make the product what the serve will be. So it varies. It's different from product to product or food
So
to
it could
food.
be a big serve or a small serve. So all different sizes on that centre row, that centre column.
Yeah,
okay.
Just up to the people that make the food. And then the last column, the up and down column, is for per 100 grams.
Yeah.
And that is the column that we should be looking at.
Okay, so we've got the one on the left. This tells us what's inside the food product, and then the one in the middle says how big the serve is.
Yeah,
and the row on the right hand side on that little box is the per 100 gram column, and that's the one we should be looking at, Maria.
That's
and
right.
why should we look at that when, say, we've got our 2 coconut cream cans here? Why would we look at the 100 gram column and not the per serve column?
Because if you have 100 grams of this coconut cream and 100 grams of that coconut cream, it's even, it's equal.
So it's the same size?
It's the same amount that we can compare.
And then we want to choose the one that's got the lowest amount of the bad stuff and the most amount of the good stuff, because I know you said the serving sizes are all different.
All different.
So we're not really comparing the same thing.
So we want to compare the equal amounts.
Equal amounts. So that's why we look at that per 100 gram.
100 grams,
okay.
Exactly.
And what should we be looking at on that, on that little box?
Yep.
What are the best ones to look at?
So there's saturated fat.
Okay.
And saturated is the bad fat. So it's the fat that we should not be having too much of.
Is that the one that you were talking about, that it blocks up the little pipes in our hearts and in our brains?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
So saturated fat. And the other one that we should be looking at is sodium. And another word for sodium is salt. So if you see sodium on the little box, it also means salt. Mm-hmm. And if you have too much salt, it can increase our blood pressure, and which can lead to which can damage our hearts.
So that's a good one to look at with the saturated fat.
That's right. So that's why we need to know the amount of salt or sodium. And the other goodness or badness item that on that list is sugar, or suka in Samoa.
And why should we be looking at the sugar?
Yeah, it's
Maria?
because too much sugar in our diet can lead to obesity, which also can lead to diabetes, and diabetes can also lead to heart disease. And also, too much sugar in our diet, we can get tooth decay from just too much sugar. Rots our teeth.
Okay, so that's some really good reason. So it really is that less is best of the 3 S's.
That's right.
The saturated fat, the salt or the sodium, and the sugar. So less is best.
Less is best.
Of the 3 S's.
Those are the 3 S's.
Those are the 3 S's
That's
that we should be
right.
watching out for. Shall we have a little go at this, Maria?
Sure.
I've
let's
got
have a
the
go.
Samoa can of Samoa coconut cream here.
And
what have
I've
you
got Solo's Choice coconut
Okay,
cream.
we'll see which is the best one for the families.
So let's have a look at this.
So what's your saturated fat per 100 grams?
So my saturated fat per 100 grams, looking at the 100 per 100 ml column, is 6.9 grams.
Okay, and mine is 23.8.
Ooh,
So
that's high.
my Samoa coconut cream has got 4 times more saturated or bad fat than your Solo's Choice.
Yeah.
So yours is the best one so far. What about the sugar? The sugar.
Sugar. So the sugar is 1.8 grams.
Oh, mine's the same as yours. Palangi Sue's is the same, 1.8.
Okay.
So you're still ahead though.
And now we go to the sodium. And mine is 27.9 milligrams.
Oh no, mine's 47.8, so mine's got over double the salt.
Yeah, so you've got more than me.
So my S's are all more, or 2 out of 3 are more than your S's.
And my 3 S's are less than yours. And
Yes.
because we say less is best, then Solo's Choice is the better one for your family's health.
Yes.
If you're going to buy any coconut cream. But if you've only got this one in your cupboard, the other way
What's
that
that
you
one?
could,
That's
it's
the-
the,
the
the
Samoa.
Samoa coconut
Yeah.
cream. Maybe you've already got that one in your cupboard. Then you could water it down, or maybe just put a little less in your cooking.
Yep. That's a good tip.
So you could reduce the saturated fat that way. Yeah.
Now I know there's one more thing on that little table that is quite good to look out for as well, and it's something called fibre or
right.
roughage. Or say when you open a can of sweet corn, and you eat the sweet corn, you get those little bits that get stuck in your teeth. So that is the fibre or the roughage. And it's really good for a couple of things in our bodies, isn't it, Maria?
No, it is a really good. So we want more fibre if possible.
So what does it do in our body, the
Yeah.
fibre, when we eat it?
So when we eat it, it helps us go to the toilet. It helps us so the food can move through our body easier.
So it's like a sweeper?
It sweeps all the food through our body.
It sweeps it all through the fibre.
So, and also after we eat fibre, it makes us feel fuller for longer. So we're not going to feel hungry after eating a lot of fibre, which comes from plants, doesn't it? So,
Yes, it does. So that's another great one to look out for. And sometimes they call it dietary fibre, but it's fibre or roughage. So on cereal packets, and we've got our big box of Goodness Oats here, it's good to see whether the product has got 5 grams or more per 100 grams.
That's right, yeah.
Not less. We want more of this one because this is the goodness in the product.
Yeah, that's right.
And so let's look at these oats, Maria. And on the table per 100 grams,
it says it reads 8.7 grams.
Oh wow! So that's a great choice for breakfast.
Yeah.
So fibre's a good one to look out for as well. So just in summary, Maria, what are the things we need to watch out for when we're shopping for our food items at the supermarket?
So we're looking for this box. It's actually called a nutrition information
box.
Yeah,
Nib. It could be a nib.
And that's what we want to look out for. And then the 100-gram column is the column that we need to be looking at.
So we can compare.
So you can compare two of the same items, like 2 coconut creams.
Or 2 baked beans.
Yeah.
Or 2 packets of cereals.
Yeah, so you
Yep.
buy the best one for your family's
Yep.
health.
And I know now that less is best of the 3 S's.
Yeah.
So we want to buy the ones that have the least amount, the lowest saturated fat or the bad fat,
Yeah.
the lowest sukkar,
Yeah.
and the lowest sodium or salt.
Or salt.
And
yeah.
then that final one we said was to
Yeah.
have
Fibre.
high fibre if we
Yeah.
can, to
So
keep the sweeper.
Yeah, so more fibre the better. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a great one, Maria. Thanks for chatting about how to read food labels. And what should we talk about next time? Should we carry on with the label? Because there's some more
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
on
there
those cans
is.
and
There's-
packets, isn't there?
That's true. There's a lot more information. So the other thing that is listed on the packet is ingredients, what goes into that food.
Well, that would be
Yeah.
good to chat about.
And also there's an amazing app that you can download onto your phone called Food Switch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would be cool to know a bit more about as well.
Mm.
So thank you for Maria for coming in and talking all about
Yeah.
our nib, our nutrition information box.
Information box.
And just remember, viewers and listeners, if you've listened to the session today, to call in nearly straight away. Marlo will be chatting about it in a second. And if you can answer the question from Marlo from the session today, you're in to win a $50 pack and save voucher. So have a really great rest of your week from Maria and
Yeah.
myself. And we'll